Hello, this is Dr. Rice again, giving another example, visual example of how to run a truth table. This example, I have a couple of examples, going to focus mainly on getting the variable columns set up correctly. And so let's take two examples. First example here is very simple, J or S. Now, some students are getting confused, I think, because you can get to the destination by more than one path. So the destination in a truth table is an attempt to represent all possible truth values for the proposition. So we can do this a couple of ways. You can start by half of the values being true and half being false. So on this version, I have done that. I've done true, true, false, false. We have four lines in our table because we have two independent variables. So if I start with half being true and half being false, then you have that for your next column. And that is then going to be alternating true, false, true, false. So on this path, we can then solve. When we get out our handy truth table quick reference guide and we look for the operator, in this case the final operator is the wedge, the either or, and when we look at the either or, we see that the only way the either or ends up false is if both sides are false. So true and true is going to be true, true and false is going to be true, false and true is going to be true, and it's not until we get to the fourth line that we actually get a falsity. So I'll fill those in quickly. And as you can see, then I circled the final operator column where the only falsity is in line 4, excuse me. So we can get to that same conclusion, however, by a different path, and that's by starting instead with alternating values. So here under the column J, the independent variable J, we did alternating true, false, true, false. If we start that way, then we've got to go the other direction and double it. So instead of alternating, it's true, true, false, false. All right? But as you can see, we have the same arrangement of truth values as in our other table. These middle two are just flipped, but we still have all the bases covered. Where J is true and S is true, where J is false and S is true, where J is true and S is false, and where they're both false. So you can run this truth table using your quick reference guide for the either or operator, and we're going to get, as you can probably guess here, the exact same setup here. Now when we get to more complicated truth tables, it won't be visually such an opposite, but for this one it happens to be. The point here is that you can start your variable columns with either half-truths and half-falses or alternating truths and falses. Alright, let's look at one more complicated example here. Suppose we have 3 variables. We're going to need 8 rows in our truth table. Again, my main goal here is just to show you that you can either start out that first column with half of the number, total number, being true and half being false. So on this example here, I did that. And then your next operator would be 2 trues, 2 falses, 2 trues, 2 falses. And your final column would be alternating true, false, true, false, true, false, all the way down. So once we've got this set up, then we could run that truth table using those values. The opposite way of doing that, again, would be to start instead with true, false, alternating all the way down here under column J, and then this column under S would be 2 trues and 2 falses, 2 trues and 2 falses, and this would be half true and half false. Again, as with the previous example, the goal is really to get all the possible truth values out there. So, I'm not going to run this whole table because I think my video is getting too long here, but we would always work then this interior operator because it's within the parentheses. So look at your chart and you'll find out that true and true on wedge is true. These are actually all going to be true until I get close to the bottom where I have false and false. Then I would use this column under the wedge along with Q to solve for my final operator, which is the conditional arrow here. So I would use columns B